Joe Lynn Turner a couple weeks ago.
Okay.
And I know you've kind of struck up a friendship with him.
Yeah. He's a lovely guy. He gets an awful lot of bad press. And I have to say that, to be honest with you, the first time I met Joe was in 1990, and I met him, and I was prepared to dislike him.
Right.
But he was so nice.
Yeah.
And I mean, he wouldn't remember that meeting because it was just a Deep Purple after show thing.
Right.
And then I went over to New York to look at studios to record the album, and he was recording, and Greg Smith, who was with me in Rainbow,
right,
was his bass player. And he said, come along and meet Joe. And Joe and I sat down, and he said, well, you said this about me, and I said, but you said that about me. And he said, hey, let's forget it. And I went, okay. and so, we got on pretty well, me and Joe.
Right.
The time will come when Richie wants to put Rainbow back together. We'll all be in a ring fighting each other, kicking the shit out of Ronnie Dio and Graham Bonnet.
Might be able to pick up Ronnie James Dio and hit Graham Bonnet with him.
See, that's an idea. But then Ronnie just opened his voice and we'd all go, you are the master. We're just going to go and sit down in the corner now. We know when we're beaten, man.
Well, have you ever had a chance to speak with either Ronnie or Graham?
I've never spoken to Ronnie or Graham. I've never even met either of them. I've never met either of them. It's but I'm hoping to get to see Ronnie in May because he's over supporting Alice Cooper.
Yeah.
And Greg, of course, is playing with Alice Cooper now.
That's right. Yes.
So he's back playing with him. So I'm hoping to get to see Ronnie this time round. And have a word and just see how the land lies with him.
He's in the press. You read things that he says about different people, and it kind of sounds a bit off-putting. But I mean, he's always been very friendly and cordial when you ask him about other people. And
see, then it's not for the journalists. It's not nice if he's you and I are sitting just now, and I'm saying things and laughing.
Right. Yeah.
But when you see it in print, if it's not there with the with the explanation that it was said in jest, if I said I was going to go in, you could say that I'm going to go in and beat up Ronnie James Dio and Graham Bonnet. You could do that, and it just makes you look like an arse.
Right.
Or it would make me look like an arse, and then you find yourself having to justify it.
Yeah.
So you have to try and be very careful what you say, because if you say it on radio or TV, it comes across as humorous. Mm-hmm. But when you see it in print, it's just black and white, and people can interpret it any way they like.
Yeah.
And that was a very, very hard lesson I learned very quickly.
Before the record, the Rainbow record came out here in America, that the only idea I had of the record and that version of Rainbow was through people in the little Deep Purple circles.
Yep.
And especially, God, I can't even think of his name right now, but he wasn't a big fan of you.
No, the guy that runs the Deep Purple Appreciation Society?
Yeah.
I can't mind what his name is.
Oh, God.
No, he hated me.
Oh, yes.
Oh, really hated me, and he really went out of his way to be sort of malicious about it before he'd even heard the album.
Yeah.
He was already down on me, and I thought that's really cheeky.
Yeah.
There was absolutely no need for it. I'm trying to think what his name was, but I can't remember.
Oh.
But he loathed me.
Yeah.
And of course I said something like, well, if he wants to behave like an asshole, he can. Of course that was printed. So of course there was this. The next episode of the Deep Purple Fan Club magazine came out, and it stamped right across the front was guaranteed a Doogie White free zone. He did. I thought that was very funny. And what he'd done was he'd put a hate list in. Tommy Bolin, me, Glenn Hughes, and Joe Lynn Turner. And I came sort of second to Joe Lynn or something. As the most hated person ever to have been involved in the Deep Purple circle. And I thought, you twat, Simon Robinson.
Yes, that's it.
His name. That's his name.
Yes.
Oh God.
Yes. Well,
Richie had this brilliant idea when we played the Hammersmith, because Simon had always wanted to do an interview with Richie.
Yes.
And Richie always said, no. So what Simon decided to do was to invite him down to the gig at the Hammersmith. And luckily Simon didn't come, because Richie was going to get him in his dressing room and handcuff him to the radiator and leave him there. And just leave him in the dressing room. Feed him with alcohol, leave him there so he would piss his pants. Which I thought was very funny.
Well, you didn't get that same reaction everywhere else in the world, though. I know Japan loved you guys.
Yep. And we went down. we went down with the audiences. We went down well absolutely every gig we ever played, and bar none. You know, we just went on there and we played, and it was good, and Richie was fired up, and he was enjoying it, and it was just some of the press guys were like, well, you know, this is a bit old fart stuff now. You know, what do you think of Green Day or blah-de-blee or blah-de-blah?
Right.
You know, and it was, well, granted, you know, there weren't many young, you know, there weren't any glamorous-looking girls came to the gigs, and, you know, a lot of it was older people, you know, and by that I mean sort of in their 30s or 40s coming to see us, but they came out in their tens of thousands. Yeah. You know, so we were obviously doing something right. The album sold 350,000 copies, so that's no, you know, you're if you sell 60,000 over here, you're a success. But it's just people's perception of you. You're not allowed to be successful if you're at that level. Yeah. And if you've been there for 25 years, they want to have the banal, makeshift, manufactured nonsense like the Spice Girls, like those Take That's and those various bands.
There's at least more music coming out of Doogie, and I know Joe Lynn's doing albums, and of course when you see Dio, I think you'll be happy because his last album was a very, very, very good one.
Magica was a great album. Great album. Absolutely loved it. I went on holiday last year and I took it to Barbados with me, and it was the Barbados beach tape. You know, I love the night. Yeah. Superb. It was good. And just, the amazing thing about him is that his voice has never changed. No. It sounds exactly the same as it did when I first heard him, you know, 76, 77. Yeah. Unbelievable. We bonded musically, and that was what the important thing was.
Right.
That was the important thing. You know, the jams were great. The times when we were left alone just to get involved in it and indulge ourselves in it were good. And I was disappointed that we didn't get to do another album. Right. That was an annoyance for me, because I thought we had a good album in us, and I had worked on it thinking it was coming, and of course it didn't.
So if he decides that his bank count has gone down sufficiently and he needs to actually put Rainbow back together, do you think you'd be a part of that?
Well, I think there are at least two guys in front of me that would secure his bank account a bit better than I would. You know, and I think that, yeah, well, it depends, really. It depends. I would love to be part of it. I would be an employee. I don't see if Joe or Ronnie would be employees. Right. You know, well, you know, they're both much bigger names and of almost equal standing with Richie, so you know they'll be able to command more. Right. But you know, if he wants to go and take all the glory and all the money, then you know, then it'll be me or Graham Bonnet. You know, but that's the way that it goes. But I don't know whether he'll do that. He seems perfectly happy doing his Blackmore's Night thing. Think about it, I always thought that Deep Purple was the first band I ever saw, but it wasn't. It was Nazareth back in sort of 1972, 73, when Raza Manaz had just come out. Wow. And my mate's mother had bought tickets for Nazareth thinking it was some sort of gospel show. And of course, when they found out that it wasn't, she gave us the tickets, and we went to see them, me and my brother and my mate. So that was that.
And that's how it all started then?
That's how it all started. Headbanging and electric guitars were a noise. You're lucky that you have rock and roll radio stations over there. Yeah. You could mention Tesla to a 25-year-old rock fan here, and they would never have heard of them. They won't know them. They'll know the big names like Metallica and Van Halen and Sabbath, but you know, they'll never have heard of the likes of White Lion or Racer X or any of these. They won't know any of these guys, right? Because what we get fed over here is dance pop. They call it R&B, but it's not really. It's not R&B as I remember it. Right. It's dance music. It's written on computers by songwriters who sit and lift hooks from every other famous song that they can think of, put a wee twist on them, and then give them to these 19 and 20-year-old dancers who mime and are auto-tuned to sing and who look cute. Can you imagine Black Sabbath? Can you imagine Deep Purple getting record deals now? It just wouldn't happen. They're not good enough looking. They don't dance well enough. You know, Then it was all about the musicianship. You stood up there and you played your ass off, and that was it.